Hello and welcome to Vaguely Cultured. I am Emily.
And I'm Jaclyn.
And just to give you a little bit about us, if you didn't listen to our trailer, this is a podcast where we watch documentaries and basically just talk about them and what we learned.
Oh yeah. What we got for our first episode, Emily?
For this episode, we have Going Clear in the Prison, Scientology in the Prison of Belief. The director is Alex Gibney. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I'm sorry, sir. He's done stuff like Crazy, Not Insane, Dirty Money, Hip Hop, The Songs That Shook America, which I want to watch that.
Well, I've never seen any of his documentaries. This is the first one that I dabbled in because we are jumping into the world of Scientology.
Yeah, this is like the first documentary that I think kind of flung us into at least Scientology. I don't know about documentaries.
Yeah, but to keep everyone, you know how we feel. If any Scientologist is watching this, or not watching, but rather than listening to this, we are not trying to bash Scientology. We are not trying to
be suppressive people.
We're not trying to be suppressive people. We are just outsiders looking in, and
learning about your religion.
Seeing if it's worth our time to really dabble into a little bit more. So this is just.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. But I'm just trying to be nice.
I will say on a personal note, I have a problem with most organized religions in general. So I'm slightly biased, but I am my interest comes from a psychological aspect. And as you'll hear when we do any sort of true crime or other religious things, I'm very well, what makes a person do this? Or how does this happen?
Yeah.
So I come in from kind of that perspective. I'm very intrigued by the human psyche.
Are you the type of person you try to put yourself in their shoes type of way?
Yes.
I like that.
I'm very much what draws somebody to this and keeps them there, which I'll get into later as to people currently in it. I don't fully understand.
Oh man, there's one person in particular I feel so bad about, which we'll definitely get into that as well, but which I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. But yes. I just, for me though,
I have my theories.
You have your theories.
I have my theories about it.
I just going into this. Let me tell you, Emily, watching this video, it's almost 2 hours long, mind you. So keep that in mind. It's a very long documentary in a way, but it was just. I liked how they started from the beginning of the founder of Scientology, who is
L. Ron Hubbard.
I'm calling him Rob Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard, who really started off as a science fiction novel person who wrote science fiction. And he still holds the title for the most books written, I guess, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't know that. I thought that was so interesting. It tells me a little bit about his psyche, actually, to have such a vivid, rampant imagination to where you could spit out so many stories. And it's just insane.
But it's probably
somebody has those, I bet. Sorry.
No, you're fine. But I was just gonna say, it just shows that he could definitely come up with something, and I really do feel like he came up with Scientology, and he had something in his brain that was do this. This is a great idea.
Well, we heard his ex-wife state allegedly that he wanted to make money, and the best way to make money is to start your own religion, which he's not wrong.
Yeah, because you don't pay taxes. Almost all the religions, for all I know,
if you become an official religion. See, that's the hard part. When you're not an official religion, I don't think you can actually call yourself a religion. I'm sure people do. What's his name? Yeezus. Yee. Yeah, is it Yay or Yee? I don't.
I personally think it's Yee.
Yeah, I think
But
it's Ye.
we could just go by his actual name, which is Kanye West. We're gonna keep it simple. We're
Well,
not
no,
gonna.
he had it legally changed.
So
So,
we're gonna. Well, for
but yeah,
people who don't
Kanye's
know,
church, Kanye West's church, like he calls that a religion. I'm like, are you, or are you a cult? And I got to be honest, there is not much difference between a cult and a religion. Like the main difference, like if you Google what is religion, you're gonna get a bunch of different answers. There's no one clear set, like dictionary answer of what a religion is.
but what is a
But
cult?
there is, so, well, I have this book called Larson's New Book of Cults by Bob Larson.
Yeah.
And it just has a basic kind of thing. It states that a cult represents a religious body that is unorthodox or spurious. It also cites a wider perimeter of division to a greater person, idea, or thing, which that ties into both a religion and a cult. But with a cult is any religious group which differs significantly in some one or more respects as to a belief or practice from those religious groups,
Oh my
which
God.
are regarded as the normative expression of religion in our total culture.
I'm sorry, but you reading that just screams Kanye West or Ye. Let's go by Ye.
It
That
screams
ju-
a lot
it's-
of religions, though.
But it screams what I feel like Ye wants. Not to jump off topic because I feel like we're jumping off, at least I'm jumping off topic, but that
There's
just
another
screamed
one
him.
that we will, I think, watch at some point that I did watch, and it is, she's, it's her name's Teal. She's like an energy person. It's this whole new age thing right now, and she's like, I'm not a cult, but in the whole documentary, they're trying to prove that they're not a cult, but.
But it is what it is. But anyways, so the crazy thing about L. Ron Hubbard, he did the science fiction books, and then he came out with this book called Dianetics, which, girl, I went on Amazon and I bought the book. I don't know why I did, but I did. I was
I
curious.
would be very interested to scale it to read it.
You could borrow if you want. It's in my basement.
Does it tell you that you will get superpowers? And
Just listen, if it said that, I would have already have read that because I've always wanted some superpowers.
do you remember Spanky says that she got into it because she thought she could get superpowers, and the one common denominator I will say is everyone says that they wanted to make the world a better place,
Which is
and
great.
fix their issues. So I get that,
That's
and
great.
we're coming in from the, what was it, mid 70s ish is when most of these people joined, early 80s, and so they're the peace era.
But Scientology, it's pretty much has been around since he tried to build it in the 50s. But it really feel like you said, I feel like it really blew up in the peace era, like for sure. Like they started off with their Sea Org, which, girl, don't even get me started with that Sea Org crap.
Well, did they start out with the Sea Org, or was it later on developed
I feel like-
because he was trying to evade taxes?
I feel like he built that not only to stay away from taxes, but I feel like is to get the younger crowd in, because that was a way for the younger crowd to travel to get
Like
in.
the Peace Corps.
Just like the Peace Corps, but it was a way for the young group to get in and feel closer to L. Ron Hubbard, to get their auditory stuff, e-meter stuff, like.
Yeah. So I actually took a picture of one of its, I don't know, scripture equivalent.
Oh God.
And it says that Scientology then is really about you. It is an exact workable way for you to recover your natural spiritual power and ability and use these to change the conditions in your life. In Scientology, there is no enforced belief, lies. It, it is not authoritative. Oh, it's covered up. In Scientology, that only those things which you find true for yourself are true. In that regarded, Scientology is a voyage of self-discovery. That's problematic within itself. The things that you
Yeah.
find to be true for yourself are true. It depends on how you interpret that, I think. And he was not exactly the most psychologically sound person.
Are you talking about L. Ron Hubbard? Dude,
Yes.
apparently he had a lot of phobia. Like he was scared of someone like watching him or whatever. Like it was to the point like if you leave, you're gonna go down the drain type of thing. Like he had such high just someone was watching him. He was just afraid of something. I don't even know what it was, but he was just a very just
He
he had
had his
issues.
own psychological
Oh
issues.
God, yeah.
Like he was definitely a megalomaniac. I wouldn't be. He had narcissistic tendencies. He honestly, later in his life, started to sound like a paranoid schizophrenic. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I have no doctorates or anything, but I have a almost unhealthy obsession with psychology and psychobehavior. So, from my brief little outsider knowledge that has absolutely no ground to it, that's what I think. And, he was able to
You know what though?
surround himself with
But
people.
going back to him, he probably had some sort of charm to him that really drew people into this
I
fantasy
think he
that he
had
had,
confidence.
which is great to have. Having confidence just makes you
When you
feel
have
like,
confidence, it goes a long way, which is
for
where
sure.
David Miscavige pretty much confidently walked his way into his position. So David Miscavige is the current leader of the Scientology church. He's pretty much the equivalent of the Pope for them.
It's wild to me though.
This guy,
So, but
he's
because
problematic.
so let's go back. I the one thing that really kind of made me, and I'm still confused by it, is their way of their auditory stuff, which
Oh, the auditing.
the auditing.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that is
I wrote down OTTR0 is what it's called. And they said when you sit in front of someone, eyes closed, and you, I guess, spew your emotional trauma to them. And your goal is to go what they call exterior. You're basically having an out of body experience. And through that, they reach a sort of kind of transcendent psychological state, which I think most psychologists would call it breakthrough.
having an epiphany. They're having something's happening.
Exactly.
Something's happening that probably shouldn't be happening, but something is happening.
Well, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. They feel good. You can't, and they're not using drugs or anything. And they're healing their traumas and stuff. Hopefully not like covering them up in a negative way.
Yeah.
But this is also where you start to have problems. So as you reach these different epiphanies and you go to the next level, which they charge you more money for each level that you go to.
Which is wild to me. Wild.
And auditing is required. So you go into it and you're like, man, I'm not gonna have to confess anything anymore. I've confessed everything. I've talked about all my traumas. They're like, well, there has to be something. And what blew my mind was the part where the guy's being audited, and they were like, well, what was that? Like there was a spike on the meter. It's like, I don't know, it's just a picture in my head. Well, tell me about it, because you had a reading on the meter. It was a dream I had about like a horse or something in the 19th century French Revolution. They're like, oh yeah, keep going, because that was a past life of yours.
Oh my God.
Like, okay.
Yeah, no. You know what I don't like though is that they write everything that you say in
everything.
these thick books which are giant with your name on it. So they have everything that you mention in the session recorded. All this
Audio, written down, videotaped. It's there, and it's strategic. It is very much strategic for if you ever decide to leave. they will pretty much use that information against you, which is terrible. At least in the Catholic Church, if you confess, it's in one ear, out the other, and they can't really tell anybody unless it's to harm somebody.
Right, of course. But
My theory, this is why I think John Travolta hasn't left the church.
oh my God. And that's who I was telling you who I like have. This is the one person I feel like who wants to leave, but he can't leave. You remember, so speaking of John Travolta, do you remember that time? It had to have been like in the early 2010s. There was so many rumors that he was gay. He was all this. He was all this. I think there was a point where he was trying to leave, but they have so much dirt on him, and it was a taste. It was a taste for everyone to be like, we have this.
Which maybe he experimented. Who cares?
Who cares?
Like, well, they do because they are anti-homosexual and anything of the sort, so they care. But
it's wild for me. I remember
but it was just, here's a little taste of what we could do to you.
You know what though? It happened right after his son Jet died in 2009. I believe it was 2009. And I think he wanted to leave. I don't know if there's something happened, but it was just, I remember it was just a lot of tabloids talking about that he had a gay boyfriend or whatever. And I feel like they were showing John Travolta that this is a taste of what we can do if you try to leave. Because, before Tom Cruise came into Scientology, which we'll get into Tom Cruise, before Tom Cruise came in, he was the face of Scientology. He was the actor. Mm-hmm. He was the one that brought so many people in because it's John fucking Travolta, man. Like John Travolta
also,
is awesome.
This is another way that I have a problem with them is they work similar to a pyramid scheme.
Oh yeah.
You have to go, or other churches, you go and spread the word and bring people in. But what other religions aren't doing in comparison to this is when you come in, you get this free little taste and then you're going to pay for everything after that. And it's a requirement to bring people in. Like if you're not bringing people in, you're doing something wrong. And that's just, for lack of better words, that's just ridiculous.
I remember, so I was baptized Catholic. I believe you told me you were a baptized Catholic. In the Catholic Church,
but I'm no longer practicing.
Yeah, so I'm not practicing either. I am still part of it, but I'm not practicing. I just remember, though, they pass around the little baskets. Hey, put money in the baskets. But it wasn't required. It wasn't required for you to put money into the church type of thing. And then in Scientology, it's like you have to pay, or I'm sure they'll do some crazy shit to you. So going
which
back,
I think is where the Sea Org comes into play. So the Sea Org, basically, it has dangerous notes to me of slavery. What is the slave term where you work to pay off your debt? Like you have debt and we're sheltering you and feeding you, but you're going to work for us and we're going to shelter you and feed you.
Oh my God, there's a word and I did not write it down.
My mom, the history teacher, would probably be upset, but you know what I'm talking about.
Speaking of Sea Org, it was so funny though. They're like, be part of the Sea Org, but when you signed it, they called it a billion-year contract.
Not call it. It is a billion-year contract.
You can't leave. You can't leave.
And their rationality for that is because your soul is pretty much what they call a thetan. And so when your thetan leaves your body, it'll go into the next body with a bunch of other thetans. And that thetan is obligated to work for the Sea Org until a billion years.
So going into the whole thetan thing, so you mentioned about, there's different levels. Well, apparently when you get to level 3 is when you really get to understand what the whole purpose of Scientology is. Man, oh man, it's apparently about a story that they're all aliens. They're all aliens. And that
Hold on, I have the whole story written down.
You need to say the story because I just wrote down a little summary of it, but I was like, okay, I can understand Scientology being a movement to try to help everyone out and all that, but this?
And so did the members or the clergy, or I don't know what they call themselves. They didn't tell us, but pretty much there are these secret files and you have to get to a certain level. At the time of this documentary, it's OT3. I don't know if this has moved or if they still, I don't know, but I'm sorry.
It's funny.
It's this is where the sci-fi comes in. Now, I don't know the state of mind of L. Ron Hubbard when he got to this level, but I think this is where the science of Scientology comes in. All right, so are you ready?
I'm ready for this. Give it to me.
And I think this is blasphemous to the church, me telling everybody this, but I'm just repeating it, so oh well, please don't stalk me
We're
and
suppressors. It's
harass
all right.
me.
We're suppressors.
Please don't harass me. Well, I don't want to be suppressed because then they're gonna make a website about me and
Oh yeah, just kidding. We don't want to be suppressors. Sorry.
all right, so this is so ridiculous. Okay. Well, all right, never mind.
Just go for it. No?
75 million years ago, people lived in a world just like this one in the 50s. Everything looked the same, overpopulation problem, and they elected a galactic overlord named Xenu to be the supreme leader, or as I said, the galactic overlord. He brought people in and, well, okay, so basically he addressed that there was an overpopulation problem the same way that we have today. And he brought people in under false pretenses and froze them and put them into space airplanes. Specifically, a DC-8 was the exact copy, flown to the prison planet Tijiak. I don't think I said that right, aka Earth. And from there, you're dropped, these frozen people and the spaceships are dropped into volcanoes, and then they set hydrogen bombs into the volcanoes to, you know, and then their spirits, aka Thetans, were captured and forced to sit in front of 3D screens and shown images, or implants as they call them, and every man is shown crucified, and every psychiatrist, which is how they get away with what psychiatrists get away with, when kids are born, a Thetan will enter their body like a soul, but more than one might crowd a body, and they are the source of all their issues and anxieties and basically traumas. And at this point, you audit yourself, and then you scale your own body for alien beings and tell them to go away. Half of that was a direct quote from L. Ron Hubbard.
Let me tell you, if this is part of one of his science fiction books, man, that's a great story. Okay, if it was a science fiction novel, it would have been a very intriguing story. But the fact that this is part of Scientology, like this is legit, like the real reason of Scientology, is mind-boggling to me.
This isn't the reason of Scientology. This is how we came to be on this planet. This is our purpose here.
Oh my God.
And how we got here. This is the prison planet.
I mean, they ain't wrong. This is a prison planet. They ain't wrong about that. But
So these people are educated, or the ones that we see on this documentary are educated. They were not born into Scientology as their kids were.
Yeah.
So they have a basic knowledge of science behind them. And this is where normal, or not necessarily normal, but intellectual and skeptical people are like, okay, what? Like, I get all this self-help and make the world a better place, but you expect me to believe that I was dropped into a volcano when volcanoes didn't even exist, let alone it, and then a hydrogen bomb was set off? Yeah, okay. Yeah, and some people are able to turn the other way because everything is so wonderful otherwise, but and I believe Paul Haggis, who was a member for 35 years, he was like, maybe this is the test. If you believe this, you'll get thrown out.
oh my God.
But nope, it's not. This is part of it. And at this point, people were told that they were infested with Thetans, and they thought they were clear and they could get rid of them. And it drove people crazy, thinking, why am I not clear? Why am I not clear? Like, people were literally losing their minds, and they don't believe in psychologists or psychology or anything like that. So their only answer to any of it is audit more, audit more,
Oh my
audit
God.
more.
That would drive me crazy.
you're fixing a problem and creating a new problem and telling them we can fix it, but you're also the source of your problem. So sit down and shut up and pay up and do what you're told, and we're gonna fix you.
Didn't they say the leader of the so-called war was Zeno? I wrote down
Xenu.
Xenu. I wrote down
Xenu,
Xenu.
the galactic overlord.
Oh my god. I'm sorry
So
for laughing.
what's interesting about this is, so I was telling you how I thought L. Ron Hubbard had like his own psychosis, and I think later in life he became more and more of a paranoid schizophrenic. So later in his life, he eventually felt that he was infested by a really big Thetan, and he couldn't get rid of it. And he employs one of his followers to help him build a machine to blow the Thetan up and kill the body. So he wanted him to basically kill him.
Yeah, have suicide.
The guy was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to scare him. 'Cause he's a scientist and maybe a doctor. I don't know. But he was like, nah, I'm just going to, we'll scare it out of him. No big deal. And at 86, L. Ron Hubbard dies. And they say he's moved on to the next level of OT exterior.
But really, he died of a stroke.
Discarded the body he used here and died of a stroke, and left no plan of succession. And comes David Miscavige.
Oh, man.
Which, this fucking guy, all right, this is, I don't like this fucking
I think he's worse than
He
L. Ron
has some
Hubbard.
serious mental issues.
He has some major serious mental health issues.
Granted, all right, you want to help the world, you want to help people, I get that. This guy's a fucking problem. And we all remember when Tom Cruise like went crazy with Katie Holmes jumping on the couch and stuff. I truly believe he was just spending way too much time with David Miscavige. He was kind of emulating his personality. He is like a textbook megalomaniac.
Well, you have to think, though, speaking of Tom Cruise, there was a period whenever he was with Nicole Kidman, he wasn't part of the church for a good probably like 10 years, and it drove David Miscavige insane because, you know, Tom Cruise was such a big part of Scientology, and I'm sure he brought a lot of people in.
Look at the most recent movie he did. It was one of the top grossing movies.
It was fantastic.
In a long time, which means he still has that allure over him. But and you know, so I don't think he's really the top Scientology dog anymore. At the moment, and I mean, did you see him on James Corden when he went on the plane?
Oh, dude, if I had an opportunity to go up there with Tom Cruise, I would do it. Okay,
That was awesome. I was a little scary because Tom Cruise still kind of scares me with his personality, but
I would do it.
He seems more level. And like Scientology, Tom Cruise kind of tucked tail and hid for a while and laid low, which was good for the church and good for his career. I mean, now if I had his money, I would, you know, enjoy it for a little while as well too. But so
you know what though? Maybe Scientology was trying to find him another girlfriend like they tried once before, which absolutely failed.
I think what happened was between everybody who was leaving the church and speaking out against the church, their tactic was to say nothing and it'll go away.
Yeah, you don't really hear anything about Scientology anymore, to be honest.
No, so
don't hear anything.
you would think that they would be milking their more current celebrity stars, like Elizabeth Moss, the main character or leading actress from *Handmaid's Tale*.
Oh, she's a Scientologist?
She's a Scientologist, which is insane considering that she's in *A Handmaid's Tale*. Like how repressive that is versus how repressed Scientology is to its people. However, there is a clear differentiation between normal people in Scientology and celebrities. This is where you get the celebrity center. They put on this whole persona and thing for these people, and they kind of don't get the abusive side or the alleged abusive side of Scientology.
Yeah, well, speaking of the alleged abuse, though,
It's quite a lot.
So they have something called the Rehabilitation Project Force, which is, I guess, apparently
Oh my gosh.
somewhat
Yeah.
like a prison camp where they put just.
It's a rehab center.
Oh yeah, okay.
Let's see. It's what they call it. Yeah, so the RBF, the Prison Camp Rehabilitation Project Force, is what it's called. Well, not the prison camp, it's the Rehabilitation Project Force. But ask anybody who has left the church, it is a prison camp. And it's to be used for stress, for the Sea Org members who are stressed out, and you're being rehabilitated by doing labor and 5 hours of auditing and training and 30 hours of work of standing and scrubbing and eating table scraps and licking the floor clean and cleaning toilets with it's disgusting.
Definitely sounds like a rehabilitation center. Sounds like yeah, it sounds like prison.
I mean, to an extent, it sounds like, for the generation where this was made, punishment. You know, when you were a kid and you were punished, you had to do chores. Or in the military, you know, you had to scrub the floor clean with a toothbrush and whatnot. The problem is the conditions that they were under. And this is where it gets really problematic, is because even if they speak out about it, which people have, there's only so much legally they can do because it's protected under the Constitution. They claim that it is religious practice to
do all this stuff.
I don't want to say torture, but
to do all whatever they're doing.
It borders this, yeah. So, and I mean, it's not the first religion to put in hard labor as part of its practice, and then they even say if you were to open the door and tell them that they could go, they were free to go, they wouldn't leave because they wanted to be there, because they fucked with their heads so much that they thought that they deserved to be there. That, no, I have to be here. I'm supposed to be here. I got to get better.
But you know what's really sad, though? Just hearing about, like, little kids and stuff like that, how they were treated.
Yes.
Like the little baby that was just, yeah, how they're just still in soiled diapers. And there's, like, fleas and ticks all over, bed sores. It's so heartbreaking.
I would lose my shit. There's no fucking way. No fucking way. But they engrave it in their minds that children are a distraction, and they pretty much raise them from the get-go to raise themselves. They send them to the cadet org, which is, it says, my notes say, a place for the kids separated from the parents and raised there so parents aren't distracted. It states that the Sea Org is not set up to handle or take care of children, and they are an impractical burden. I agree, children are an impractical burden, but if you chose to have them, that is your burden that you took on, and it is your responsibility. It is yours, and to just poof. I mean, and they allegedly encourage and push people to have abortions when they're in the Sea Org. There's some very troubling stories about that, because it's going to get in the way. It's going to get in the way of you becoming clear and getting better. You don't want to have that. They said that there were so many sick children, neglected, urine-soaked cribs, crusty eyes, fruit flies.
So sad.
I would have lost my shit.
Well, that's what that one woman, though,
Spanky.
Spanky. She saw that, and she saw how her child was being treated, and she grabbed her kid and she bolted.
Well, she was also pregnant, and she was doing hard physical labor, eating table scraps, not being healthy or nutritious at all, and she acknowledged that for her, and she said that John Travolta, allegedly, which he did not confirm, was disappointed in her for allowing such mistreatment of herself. So, and then other people go on to say, well, okay, so he knew the mistreatment of these people was happening, and he chose not to do anything.
But you know what, though? So she got somebody who knew John Travolta, the person who picked her up and sped off. So it could easily have been true for all we know. But of course, John Travolta's not going to say anything because he doesn't want anything else on him. He doesn't want any more issues, I'm sure, with Scientology, when it comes to him.
Well, to an extent, but then there's also just turning a complete blind eye to the things going on and just choosing to not believe them. Like Tom Cruise has completely put up blinders to the mistreatment of these people, but they're also told that anyone who speaks out against the church is a suppressive person. They're trying to tear down the church, and everything they say is lies. So here's the thing. Go ahead.
Well, going back to Tom Cruise, with Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman's dad was a psychologist. So that right there, he was already a suppressed person.
They didn't like that at all.
He didn't like that. And so Nicole
They tried
Kidman,
to separate them.
And then Nicole Kidman was already a suppressed person because of the fact that she, I don't think she wanted to be part of the church. She never wanted to deal with that.
But you do crazy things for the person.
Yeah, of course. But so I know the church tried to get the kids turned against their mom, their two adopted kids.
So I have what this is called. They say if you start to cause problems, they put together a lateral team to go through your files, which, as we said, when you are getting audited, everything is recorded. So they take all of those recordings and pretty much see what they can use to blackmail you. What they say is everything to keep you down, Hubbard approved, not blackmail, because you are protecting the church. But likewise, when the media comes out with negative things, the church muscle is used to protect you, i.e., my example was Hyde from that 70s show was most recently accused of rape or sexual harassment or assault or something. I didn't totally look into it. Me and my mom fully believe the only reason he hasn't been he isn't in jail right now is because he has the power of the church behind him.
Oh, of course.
And so like you were saying with Nicole Kidman, they put together one of these lateral teams against her, and pretty much it's basically a form of harassment that borders blackmail, if not blackmail, and they pushed her out. And I don't think she still has contact with her stepkid or her adopted kids.
I did some lurking on Instagram, and I believe she follows them, but I don't think they follow her. So, but I feel like she's slowly...
But the fact that she's not blocked says something.
Yeah, so I think that she's trying to get in touch, but I know the kids... So Connor doesn't call himself Connor Kidman Cruz. He is Connor Cruz. But Bella, I believe that's Isabella. Bella, she still calls herself Bella Kidman Cruz. So...
That's so sad.
But it's still like... All because
that's
of Scientology.
Their kids, At least, I mean, she still tries. She's clearly their mother, and she tries, and she probably understands and respects. But
you don't really hear her talk about her kids, her two oldest, ever.
Probably because she knows that if she does, she could get condemned as a suppressive person, and then they would have to disconnect from her. Which in the church, what I mean by disconnect is pretty much you have to completely cut ties with somebody, completely disconnect from them.
Sad.
It's akin to being shunned in the Amish community, but they take it like a step further. It doesn't matter who you are. It could be your child, your mother, your husband, your wife, whatever.
A friend.
If you get declared, and you get declared a suppressive person, you have to, I think there's a time limit to disconnect from that person, or you will also be declared.
I think they have within a week or so to disconnect with them.
Which is insane. A week to tell my daughter, sorry, I love you, but I can't have anything to do with you or never see you ever again.
But it's true, though. That's true. One of the ladies in the documentary, I forgot to write down her name, she was saying that because of what her son did, his son, I don't know if he put out an article or he read something on the internet, but because of her son, he automatically became a suppressive person, and she was on her son's side, and she became a suppressive person. Well, her daughter, everybody that was in her family that's still in the church,
sad.
she hasn't seen her grandkid, her grandchild in
How
years.
she was describing her last encounter with her daughter was
so
she was like, I was
sad.
taking in everything, the way her skin feels, the way her hair smells. Like, that is such a mom. And that was so hard to watch. And I can, like, but that's what they do. They completely engulf your brain to make you think that that is the right thing to do, to disconnect from them. And that just blows my mind.
And you could do the littlest thing by reading something on the internet, or you read a book that's, you know, suppressive to the, you know, the church. It could be anything, because they don't want you, for example, they don't want you to go on the internet. They don't want you to read anything about the church online. So they don't want people to go online specifically for those reasons. And
Which is why I believe, because of the technology and stuff, is why I think that their numbers have declined so much.
Well, I think their membership has declined a lot. Like, there's not that many people. I mean, there's still a good handful, but there's not as many people as it was in their prime with the church.
So I tried to look up their numbers, and it's not very clear, but they have more members around the world than they do in America. Today, basically. And to me, that's just preying on people who don't have access to the information. They don't, you know, they're preying on the vulnerable. And I mean, I don't know what they're going to do about the money. Oh, I know they're going to have them sign a billion-year contract and work it off, work to your different levels.
You know what's really funny?
They go, yeah, what?
Apparently, here in our hometown in North Carolina, there is a Church of Scientology here.
In Charlotte.
No, there's one here in good old Winston.
What? I thought it was in Charlotte.
No, there's a little church that's... I'm looking it up because I'm curious. I
was scared to go on the website that they would have, like, trackers on it or something. And I was like, please don't. Because, you know, when you, like, go onto, like, a real estate thing and you end up getting all this spam from it, I was afraid it was going to be like that.
So it looks like a house. I'm going on Google. I'm just curious what it looks like. It looks like it's a hat. But you know what, though? I'm sure they have to have little chapters somewhere in different parts of the state. But like what you said, the biggest one is located in Charlotte, I'm sure. The biggest part of the church.
So this is how they... I'm sure they do have a bunch of little things, because they have to put their billions of dollars.
How they're still getting this money is still mind-boggling to me.
The only thing that makes sense is that they washed it into clean businesses to where they could make more money.
They got real estate too. Lots and lots and
well,
lots
that's
of
the
real
thing.
estate.
They're putting all this money in the real estate. And if you watch, let me see, I have it written down. Leah Remini's Scientology in the Aftermath, you find out a whole lot more. Again, it's all alleged. So take it as you will. I personally believe a lot of what was being said. And you have people from all different levels of important office in there.
It seems like it was all
insane.
top dog people though, like,
which says a lot.
It does.
It says a lot. But in defense of the religion, all these people really started to leave once David Miscavige came into power. Which, circling back to him, he pretty much bulldozed his way in.
He sure did.
Into his position.
He sure did.
He inserts himself. He takes over, allegedly abuses people at a personal level, and he gets to stay at the top and he claims that Scientology cured his asthma.
Wild. I wish it could. Listen, if it can cure some asthma, let me see what it's all about, because I got some major asthma.
This guy, he reminds me of that character that Leonardo DiCaprio played in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, and I love that movie.
But not as funny or cool
or
entertaining.
Though, talking about David Miscavige, and I don't think it was talked in the movie. I actually, I wanted to look him up a little bit more. Where the hell is his wife, Sherry? Where is
Yes, Shelley Miscavige.
Where's she at?
It is... Oh, okay, I don't want to get sued. How could I say this? It is very suspect, his possible involvement in the alleged disappearance of his wife. No one has seen her outside of no outside member of the church has seen Shelley Miscavige, and I believe it was 14 years.
Dude, that's wild.
The last time that she was seen by at least someone from who has currently left the church was before Tom Cruise married Katie Holmes.
And that was in 2006 when
she
he
was
married
not
Tom.
present for that, and that was what was so weird. It's because she was the Pope's wife. The Pope's wife is not present.
Isn't what Leah, didn't she mention at his wedding, where's your wife?
Yeah.
Remember?
And
Where's
she
your
got
wife?
in trouble for it. She got in trouble for it. And she has personally put in a missing persons report, and they have a whole I believe it's an open investigation. They can't get they think she's buried somewhere at the rehabilitation center.
That's what I was about to say.
It's insane. If you have to watch Leah Remini, Scientology and the aftermath.
Yeah.
If you liked this, you'll like that. It goes into much more.
Yeah, but for me, like, I was looking him up a little bit because I just said, what is David Miscavige? Let's look him up. And I saw about his wife. What is he? Who is he? What is he? But not to get off topic, but because I don't think it was mentioned in the video because I don't remember, but
she wasn't mentioned at all. Yeah,
but it was just, oh, wow. Like, that's his wife. And I don't know if they have kids together, which I don't think they do. But, they were together for a very long time. Very long time. So something must have happened that pushed David to the point where it's just like, well, you're a suppressive person or something. But you need to get a reality check on this. And that's why you put him in there.
If you take into account all the other allegations of abuse from this man, do you really not think he would not lay his hands on her for speaking out at all? Making a simple mistake?
Oh, yeah. Look at L. Ron Hubbard. He threatened to kill his kid to his wife plenty of times.
He kidnapped her and took her to Cuba and kept calling her and saying that, oh, I killed her.
Yeah, I killed her, sorry. And then let some random people take care of his daughter for God knows how long.
Rather than him do it himself. But I'm not going to leave you with your mom who's going to take care of you.
So I'm just going to kidnap you. I'm not surprised. And,
so David Miscavige spent a lot of time with L. Ron Hubbard. So he is what we would call, I guess, a true believer. He is completely engulfed and ingrained with every aspect of this religion. Mm-hmm. And if he is the epitome of this religion, then I want no part of it. And I think that's what other people kind of realize. Like, I love this religion, but not with him in charge. No. And that's sad, It always takes one bad apple. So speaking of taking on every part of this, I want to talk about how they got tax exemption.
Yo, the IRS alone, they were after them for years and years. So they had years.
I didn't write it down, but they had almost $1 billion or a couple $1 million. I think billion's excessive.
That they had to pay back. Yeah. It was wild. But something happened. I forget what happened, but something happened to where the IRS was like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah. So here's what happened. So remember how. I don't think I actually spoke about it. So if they're willing to create this team to come after you and blackmail you and this, that, and the other, they are willing to fight, if nothing else, for what they believe in. And basically, David Miscavige rallied up his troops and were like, we are going to attack these people of the IRS, not just the IRS as a whole, individual members of the IRS. Now, at this time, they had, I think, upwards of 50,000 members in Scientology. So individual members of the church are suing individual members of the IRS, as well as suing the IRS. And suing, you're sued, you're sued, you're sued.
I don't know about you. I would not want nothing to do with it. If I was in the IRS, just give it to them. Just give it to them.
considered them fair game, which is anyone who criticizes or is considered fair game. So I guess we're considered fair game. God help us. And you do what you have to attack is their mentality. And this was in the 80s, I believe, where the members started harassing the FBI news. That started harassing the FBI news media and the IRS. Harassment, abuse, financial ruin, killing animals, ruin their reputation. Killing animals, they killed that one guy's dog, allegedly. Like, it's insane the lengths that they went to. And pretty much what they said was, hey, you want to get rid of us? We have a way. Yep. Are you tired of us bugging you and harassing you and always being there? And, you open your eyes, bam, we're there. Well, we have a way that you can make this go away. We'll drop every harassment suit or every suit that we have against you and the IRS. We'll just make it go away. All you have to do is not only forgive our multi-million-dollar tab that we have here, but you're going to give us tax exemption. So we never have to pay you anything ever again. Now, they do have to show certain numbers, apparently, which...
I think every church has to, though.
Which they do sparingly, like other churches do. This is where I have a problem with religions being tax exempt. I don't think it's okay. I think if there should be a limit to it, because obviously not just Scientology, the Catholic Church, the Hasidic Jews, Islam, they all abuse power with money when it gets to a certain level, and that's not okay. But so do billionaires. But who's gonna do anything about these fucking things?
That's another topic once we talk about billionaires.
Yeah, so they're misusing these. Who knows how they're actually using these funds? Because I have not seen a single nonprofit or an actual positive movement that has come from their money. I see them buy buildings, empty buildings. They don't pay their members. Let's see, it was 6 to 46 cents an hour. One guy made $50 a week. That's what they're paying these people who are working for the church.
Oh, yeah.
Where is this money going? Who is it going to?
It's going to David. It's going.
But I don't know. Like, I really feel like I think it's being laundered.
It's going to all these big extravagant stuff, like these performances that they do, these big events that's just
to an extent, yes.
But it's you know what though? There's probably a lot of dirty money. We don't know where any of this shit's going. It's going to where they're buying property, which that's a given.
I know they're buying property, but where's the rest of it?
We will never
It's obviously been invested and turned. I do know that they do stuff within prisons and drug addictions, and I think in some other countries.
Which is great, I guess.
Which is great. It's a yes and no for drug addicts and ex-convicts, because you're taking vulnerable people and sticking them into a situation that they're not equipped for, telling them that they're going to help them. Yep. And in some ways they are, but it's just, it feels a bit misuse.
Yeah.
My next note actually has to do with that music video.
Oh my girl.
We stand tall.
We stand tall. It's like a Disney production. We stand tall.
So when they reached tax exemption status from the IRS, which with its sidebar, my limited research on what is a religion, what is a cult, cults versus religions, the main difference was that one is acknowledged by the IRS and the other is not.
Which Scientology?
That was the biggest difference between the two.
Yeah.
So they pretty much created this music video.
Bro. It was like a Disney production. It was a Disney production, it looked like to me.
It was a group choir. And there was a few people of color in that too, but it was mainly, again, a sea of white, which I guess some about white people is so vulnerable. So this is why we watch documentaries, to learn so we don't become so vulnerable. I don't know, but it was so corny. It was like their kind of victory lap. Like that was their expression of "we won, huzzah."
It
Okay.
made it look like they were a church. If you look at it, it's like they had a choir. We're a church. We're singing hallelujah. Like we're finally recognized as a church. Like we're showing that we are a
We did
church.
it. Hooray.
Hooray! We are tax exempt in the year of 1993. Let's make it very 90s. They had a video camera. It was like they were singing, like I said, part of Disney. Like I don't even know. It made me
Think
laugh.
they would call it this is our zone of influence.
It it was on a whole new level, and
It was it was something. You should definitely go watch it. It is a one-hit wonder. It's called We Stand Tall. You're in for a treat, people. So the next thing I have that was really interesting that kind of circles back into religions versus cult is somebody said, and I didn't get who said it, that other religions can describe what you believe. Scientology, you have to be in it for a while to describe the belief system. And I believe it was this one actress, I have her here, Erica Christensen.
oh, you know what though? She was in that movie Swim Fan. Oh, I
Love that movie.
that movie.
Yeah, she's a Scientologist. So she
I
said
am.
it's more of something you do rather than something you believe in. And that kind of contradicts the ultimate, like, definition of a religion. But I mean, they kind of go hand in hand, but you have to have like a belief system. And nobody can really say what that belief system is other than you're doing it, you're the problem, you're the solution.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I want to circle back to my book here. So just to kind of give you a little bit more information that kind of has you question not only this, but some other things as well. As far as whether this is a cult or a religion before or after tax exemption. And you can take this to other religions as well. So it says, if you identify and recognize these following psychological forms of cult coercion, absolute loyalty, check, we have that. Altered diet, well, if you're a member of the Sea Org or in the RBC, you're getting table scraps. Chanting and meditation. We stand tall.
We stand tall.
Conformity. They're anti-homosexuals, which was super disturbing. I have that. It says, and this is from the excerpt that they showed on the documentary, the sexual pervert, and by this term, Dianetics, to be brief, includes any and all forms of deviation and dynamic too, such as homosexuality, lesbianism, sexual sadism, etc., and all down the catalog of Ellis and Kraft Ebing, whoever the fuck that is, in actual quiet ill physically. Perversion is an illness, has so many manifestations that it must be spread through an entire gamut of classes. What the fuck?
Dude, you lost me after the lesbianism.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know that was a term. You lost me at the sexual pervert.
Yeah.
I'm like, excuse me. Which is why Paul Haggis left the church, is because 2 of his daughters are lesbians.
And
gay.
they were harassing them, and it was to the point where she's like, dude, enough is enough.
And that shows you like kind of how much disconnect they have between them and their kids. He didn't know that that's what they were going through, because I guess they don't talk to their kids. It's not really a thing that you have to do. So conformity, doctrinal confusion, which is incomprehensible truth are more readily accepted when presented in a complex fashion. I guess that would be our Xenu, the Galactic Overlord.
Or we're Thetans. We have aliens in this.
Yes. Exclusivity. You're either in or you're out. Financial involvement, which big check on that. Hypnotic states, when you're being, what's it called again? When you leave your body, external.
Oh, you're having a out of body experience, or what? There's a word.
Whatever
There's a word.
whatever their term is for it. So that's what that is. Isolation from the outside. There was plenty of that. Lack of privacy, everything that you confessed during your auditing session. Love bombing. I think they more so do that. Physical affection, constant, contrived, attentive, can give a false sense of camaraderie. That we love you, you stay with us. You can't, we're your family. Are you going to leave your family? I think they more so do this with celebrities.
Yeah.
They had what was it, a 35-minute long video for Tom Cruise for whatever fake award they made for him.
Oh my God. I want to find that video.
35 minutes. That's insane. If you find it, just definitely share it with me.
Oh Lord, I will.
Mega communication, long confusing lectures, new relationships, marriage and other cult members, how they selected a woman for Tom Cruise to date.
That whole story, though, is just... And I feel bad for the person involved because she had no idea. She thought that...
I think she was in Rings of Power recently.
I don't really know. I don't watch Lord of the Rings. I'm so sorry. But... okay. Don't give me that look. Okay, I
haven't finished it either,
but I just, she thought that I forget exactly what she thought was going on. I think she was like recording something. She had no idea that she was.
So they thought that the makeover they were giving her was charity from the church.
That's what it was,
to help her career. So I mean, you have no reason not to believe these people that you trust, and they're showering you with love and attention.
They're just trying to make you feel better,
and they're
make
telling you,
better
we're gonna help you in your career. And then, my job is to date this guy. Well, it's Tom Cruise, so I mean, not my cup of tea, but I could see where she was coming from. But it's also, you're whoring me out.
That's exactly what it is. It really is. They're just, here you go. It's like an animal.
But
here
it's
you go.
Tom Cruise, so I guess it's okay. You took off my braces, so I guess I'll accept it.
Honestly, they probably felt that she was good enough for them to think that she's worthy.
She thought she was safe.
Yeah.
She thought she was safe. She thought what she was doing was, good and for the betterment of the church and the betterment of herself. So, I mean, I can't totally condemn her. And just from the outside looking in, we're like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? But, they got engulfed in it, and just like any person who is engulfed in a religion, like some guy my husband works with was telling him he's going to go to hell the other day for not believing in, I don't know, Jesus or something. And I was like, well, that was rude as fuck.
Wow.
But there are people who are so engulfed in it and they truly think that what they're doing is right and okay, and so, and they don't see it until
too late.
They get a crack on the head and they're like, I get it now. The last few are pavilion control, which is behavior modification. We see that. Peer pressure, see that. Sensory deprivation. I guess that would be like the rehab center.
Either that, or it's also whenever they do the auditing sessions, where it's just like, I mean, I really don't know, but they have to hold these two cans. Remember, they have to hold these two cans, and I don't know if they feel something or whatever.
I don't think so. They just feel their emotions, and then it spikes like a lie detector.
Yeah.
And the last two are unquestioning submission and value rejection. So, I mean, you can't question Xenu, the Galactic Overlord. Who the fuck are you to question Xenu? It's there's just so much, and I wouldn't mind if it was just the self-help. And honestly, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, the Satanic Church also believes to an extent you are, your main source. You make yourself better. You put yourself down. You have to work to make yourself better instead of putting yourself down. So that stuff I get. It's everything else that is questionable. But who am I to question it?
Exactly.
To an extent, it is religious practice, sure.
But it's getting to the point where I feel like it's more than religious practice. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. It's a cult. And they don't. And it's a cult. Let's be real.
It's a cult that pushed their way. All right, I am officially declaring myself a suppressive person. It is a cult that pushed and abused and harassed its way into tax exemption status so that it could continue to feed whoever they're trying to feed. They do some great work. Awesome. Kudos. I don't see, the thing is we have churches even here. What happens if you're bad, need to be punished when you're here? Are you going to get sent to California?
I feel like they're going to extradite you to one of their bigger churches, wherever it's at.
Good fucking luck. I have a job and shit.
They don't.
You gonna kidnap me?
I feel like that's something they will do, though. I wouldn't put it past them. They have billions of dollars. Where are they putting this money?
I don't know how much money they have now. They haven't reported in a while.
Who knows? But I'm sure they have enough money to keep things hush hush.
Absolutely.
So, and it's really sad, and I'm very happy that the people that got out were able to tell us what's really going on behind these doors. But at the end of the day, there's still going to be a church. They're still tax exempt. Under U.S. law, they are considered as a church.
The only way that they could lose, now you can lose tax exemption status by not, I don't know, proving that your funds are being used for nonprofit stuff or whatever. You have to prove where your money's going and that you're using it for good and
just
stuff.
Like what you said earlier, I'm sure they're just showing the bare minimum that they have to show in order to continue to be tax exempt. Mm-hmm. There has to be something that they know what they're doing.
Dirty things are going on. Now, granted, like I said before, dirty things are going on in pretty much all other religions. It's just this one specifically, because that's the one that we're on today. There will be other religions and cults that we go into for
Which
sure.
I'm excited about.
Oh yes. But this one is being ran like a business and has been run like a business for so long. Where is that money going? Why do you have... I mean, it's a religion. They have their own beliefs, sure. But to what extent do you not trust your members to do the right thing? Mm-hmm. Why do you have to punish them to an extent? I mean, to me, again, it's that kind of adult child mentality of you have to be punished to learn your lesson.
Which is unfortunate, but that just shows that do I personally want to try Scientology after seeing this movie or seeing this documentary? No, I really don't. I mean, I can't bear bringing my family into something like this, and then the likelihood of someone in my family getting tortured because they did something wrong. And plus, I don't have the money to spend.
Yeah, I don't have the money.
I don't have the money to spend it.
But you're not going to tell me that, or my kids, that they can't have anything to do with me because you excommunicated me.
Oh God, that would destroy me. That would destroy me.
I don't. And that main guy who's on the Leah Remini, I forget his name. He lost everybody. His kids, his wife, parents, cousins, friends, everybody, and had to completely start over. And he was like the VP.
I think I know what you're talking about. I forget his name, but that's just...
I have it
I can't imagine going through something like that, like everything you've ever known, everybody who you've ever talked to, they don't want anything to do with you. Like, you are exile in their lives. You are a forgotten family member now. No one wants to deal with you.
So the question becomes, how many people are still in this, and what happens if you are able to leave? If you are able to leave, you better buckle up, because you're in for it. And I really think it's more so members who've been in for a long time or of higher rank that they go to this extreme
Well, and
for.
I also think it's the people too who go on TV or go on certain things and bash.
Speak out
They speak out.
publicly,
I
yeah.
think if you don't speak out and you silently get out of Scientology, I don't think anyone's gonna bother you.
So they claim that they didn't know that this type of disconnecting thing happened until after. So there's a certain amount of secrecy there. So that's not cool. You should know your punishments and repercussions for your actions before, so you know, okay, this is what'll happen if I do this. But they're encouraged to stay off the internet and not to read anything negative. So they can go on the internet, but if they see something about Scientology, just scroll right by. Don't read it. Don't read it. Don't watch it. Nothing. Mike Render, that was his name. His entire family disconnected from him. Your whole goal, I guess, for Scientology is to reach the bridge.
Yeah, I know it's called the Bridge of Total Freedom.
Christians with hell and Scientology with the bridge. So I don't really remember it.
The Bridge of Total Freedom. That's where we're going. When it comes to like normal religion, like going to God or whatever, girl, I don't know.
I don't know. If I have it with hell, it sounds bad.
Girl, you just going straight to hell. I don't know. We're gonna be like Lil Nas X and go down on a stripper pole all the way down to hell. let's spin on down there. But as for Scientology, yeah, they call it the Bridge of Total Freedom, and it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like enlightenment and all that.
Total freedom from like having any bills and stuff. Girl, bye, sign me up.
I think it's more emotional bills. Because it doesn't sound like they're not gonna not bill you, so who knows?
Maybe it's
who
just
knows how much that costs.
Maybe you just want to be clear from all your thetans and whatever else is in your soul, or
So at this point, you're not reaching the bridge. You're a suppressive person. You've been declared. Now we're coming after you. So what they did with these people, and there's no allegedly, we see them harassing them. They create websites. What did they say? The Truth Rundown was one of the things.
Oh my goodness. And I think they really put a lot of your business, I think they got from all your sessions too.
Yes, the lateral team.
How you abuse something, or if you did something as a child, or
they come up with fabrication. Yeah.
Or the best, or not the best, but the worst is that they'll come to your door and they have cameras
and shirts.
The one with I don't know if her name was Monica or whatever her name was, but they bought the house right next door to them, and they put up security cameras, and they had people looking out the window watching her and her child. And so she ended up suing them. She
was able to sue them because she was not a member and never was a member of Scientology.
I looked up the case. She ended up dropping the case because I don't know what happened.
What?
But if I'm not mistaken, it was just because she said that she didn't want to waste any more money on this because she was putting so much money.
They probably were trying to.
Yeah. But yeah, so I looked it up and she ended up dropping it. So sad on her, because girl, if I had people like this and they're coming after my child and myself, and I had nothing to do with the church to begin with, that's messed up.
I mean, they did it to that documentary, that British guy.
Oh yeah,
who did
Louis, I think it's his name.
And Mike Rinder ended up apologizing to him after the fact, which is good for him. But they're relentless. They call it a counterattack tactics. Find out the most valuable stuff to them the things that they hold to most value and protect and basically attack it, which could be your family, your kids, your job, your reputation, your money. They're coming after you, and that is scary. So of course people are going to be scared to leave. And then you look at the kids who are raised in it, or the people who've been in it for 35 plus years. This is all I know. Everyone I know is in it.
They're gonna think it's a normal thing for them to do this and whatever.
It takes a lot of courage to leave. But on the plus side, their numbers I googled, and I think this was as 2016. I could be wrong. They dropped below 50,000 people, and yet money was growing over 3 billion in assets.
Jesus.
Not million, billion.
I feel though there has to be a time, like what would happen if this church and its members really drop below like an actual like top
number?
Like, do they think they will lose like their exemption or something if it gets below a certain amount of people?
I think if they do get under a certain amount, which is why I think they keep buying rental or property to make it seem like, oh, we have all these people, they're filled, but like in Leah Remini's Scientology, The Aftermath, they're empty buildings. There's nobody in them. They have all these pretty shiny things and nobody in them because they don't have the members. Or as technology grows and information becomes more accessible, people are educating themselves more. It's also kind of hard to miss. Leah Remini kind of went, pow, here's the information, here's the truth. So it was kind of hard to miss. And people informed themselves and educated themselves and was like, I don't want to be a part of this. Even if I'm going to take Dianetics and just practice it on my own, I don't want to be affiliated with this church and this scandal. But it's insane. I was looking, so that's pretty much the end of it. I just looked up celebrities who are in the church.
There's a lot of celebrities in the church, though. It's
Danny Masterson is the one from that '70s show. He played Hyde.
And his sister, I think all of his siblings. Elena Masterson is also Scientologist.
So she was in The Walking Dead. And his brother, I believe, was in Last Man Standing.
Yeah, he played
Ryan, I think.
Ryan, the one of the
not Ryan. Ryan's the sweet one.
No. That is Ryan.
The baby daddy.
He played, that was his name, Ryan. I remember I watched it.
I thought Ryan was the kind of stupid one.
No, I think Ryan is, he's not the stupid one. I let me Google it because I'm curious.
But he Danny Masterson is accused of rape and has denied the allegations, but I think the only way he's been able to prolong his court dates and stuff and to stay out of prison is his affiliation with the church. They don't want something that negative on them.
Yeah, so Jordan Masterson plays Ryan Vogelson.
That's it.
Yeah, he plays the girlfriend.
He's like the hippy dippy one.
Yeah, Kristen is the daughter's name, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, yeah. And you know what's really funny? Speaking of the sister, Alana Masterson, she's actually really good friends with Hilary Duff. And I know for a fact Hilary Duff is not a Scientologist.
Well, I mean, again, celebrities are held to a different standard. They can have different freedoms and
which is messed up, I think.
Do different things that normal people can't. It's not that normal people can't affiliate themselves with non-Scientologists. It's just not really... As long as they're not suppressive people, you're fine.
Another famous person, Kirstie Alley.
Yeah. Is she still in it?
She's still in it. And I didn't know this. Juliette Lewis did not know.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if she's officially a Scientologist, but I know that she takes up for the church. I'm still baffled over Elizabeth Moss. That blows my mind. Giovanni Risby, he was... oh gosh, what is he in? An Industry of Death? No. Ted actor. He's in a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, he was the creepy guy in Ted. Who wanted to steal Ted, the teddy bear. He's in that. Laura Prepon. She was Donna in that '70s show, which makes sense. She's currently left the church since then, but it makes sense because when Leah Remini said was, and again, Leah Remini is not in Going Clear, we've watched both, and it's hard to not tie one into the other when you've seen both. But pretty much, like I said before, it works almost like a pyramid scheme where you bring people in, like Lululemon or whatever it's called. So it's not uncommon for Danny Masterson probably brought in Laura and kind of got her involved in it, and she has since left the church. Probably she's open-minded, and she was raised Catholic Jewish is what this said, but she played a lesbian on Orange is the New Black, and that was probably greatly frowned upon by the church. They were like, oh no, you can't do this. She was like, the fuck I can't.
You know who else was a Scientologist? Which mind-boggling, was Elvis Presley.
Priscilla Presley.
Was it Priscilla or?
I don't think it was around when Elvis was, but Priscilla has ties to. I don't think she's currently a member. She might be. I don't know. A lot of people have kept it under wraps because it's here. It is. Here's Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of a member since she was a child, announced in 2012 that she was stepping away.
Yeah, so now that I read about Elvis Presley, he was less than favorable impression of Scientology. He did not like that shit. So it was probably when they got divorced or they separated when her mom decided to join it with her daughter. Or it could have been right after he died in 72. Was it 72 or 76 is when he died?
I don't know, but she was a child, so no, Priscilla was a member, and then Lisa became a member with her mom. This one is shocking, and I did not know, and I'm kind of upset about it. Michael Pena.
Oh, yeah, I read that. Yeah.
He says that it made him a better actor, which I guess in the sense of it helps you understand yourself and understand emotions, but come on, man. You're so funny. He's the funny one in Ant-Man. He was in End of Watch. Oh my god, he's been in so many things.
He was in The Martian. He played one of the crewmen. He played the pilot. So yeah.
He's so funny.
I'm so sad, but anywho, yeah. This documentary really opened my eyes a little bit more on Scientology. It still made me realize that this is a really fucked up group in some shape or form.
What they have become has become fucked up. Where their roots started out pure, and it has turned into something very, very destructive. Which is not to say that other religions and cults aren't, but how they became a religion is just very questionable.
L. Ron Hubbard definitely made a really shitty impact, but I'm really gonna say David Miscavige whenever he came in. Yes.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just
holding on to my.
I was just gonna say though that I really, like you said earlier, I really think that ever since when David became the leader of the church, I really think that the abuse really came out more, and all sorts of things just really came out more.
So, he spent time with L. Ron Hubbard, so a lot of that came from him. However, like we said, later in his life, he started to essentially lose his mind more and more. And at one point, he even reached out to the Psychological Association, which is completely against everything he claims to have believed in. He asked for psychological help, and got turned away or something, which is so sad, because if he got to the point that he was asking for help from the people that he said were evil, then his mental state was not great. So and that reminds me, he even tried to get Dianetics accredited by the Psychological Association as actual.
Oh my god! Right.
So that he has no psychology background, but that's beside the point. The fact is that he was asking for help and he got turned away. So I really think that he, as his own personal mental illness escalated, he put that into his religion, and these people are eating it up like Thanksgiving dinner. And they're like, this is the word. This is the way it is. This is all knowing. This is what we do. And it's turned out to be destructive, and it's hurts people's psyche. It hurts people's family. I know for a fact people have committed suicide after being declared a suppressive person and being disconnected from people's.
I would.
A small handful.
If my whole family disconnected from me because of something,
I mean,
probably.
I wouldn't,
but well, no. But you have to think though.
But I get it. I get
if like
it.
your kids, like your little kids, like they're not able to, like that would destroy me.
They would have to
sorry.
They would have to take out a 50B on me. I'm not leaving you the fuck alone. I will harass you. I will use the tactics that you guys taught me.
Hey,
and I will harass my own children.
I know what I need to do.
Yeah, you're not getting rid of me. Sorry, you could get a 50B on me, and I will go Joe from you and stalk you from afar, because it ain't happening. You ain't getting rid of me. I created you. I'm not Xenu.
Oh my god.
Me right here.
So, but what a documentary though. It really just
So interesting.
Very interesting. Like I said, Scientology is still just very. They're scamming the government for sure. We all know that.
I mean, most religions are scamming.
Yeah, but they're just a religion that shouldn't even be a religion. So
yes.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of proves the point that there should be a more official system to how one becomes a religion, how one reaches tax exemption. There should be a limit with tax exemption so that people are not abusing such a power.
Yeah. And I feel like they really should definitely.
There should be accountability.
But there should also, when someone's going to you and saying that there's abuse going on, this and this, they should have really had a search warrant or something to really go into the place and see the living conditions. I
get that. I mean, but they probably sweep it under the rug, like everything's fine.
But you mentioned like a point earlier. It's just like when you're a church, like there's only so much they can do.
It's
legally.
Religious practice, but to an extent, the way that that group of Mormons was marrying children, it's legal to an extent until you're breaking the law. So this is only torture and abuse if they're unwilling.
And they're all like, hee, I'm here for a reason. Like, I'm not leaving.
But there are some people who don't want to be there. But what other choice do they? There just needs to be some sort of account. It's a double. What can you do? Honestly, though, what can you do? It sucks. Like,
not join a church at this point.
I know. Leah Remini and them should start a group, if they haven't, where they pretty much, it's like a safety net, like a 411 number that they can call, and we will meet you at this place at this time, no questions asked. We'll come and pick you up and take you someplace safe. And they should have that for just a religious hotline if you need help in escaping. Hasidic Jews, Islam, Amish, Christianity, Jehovah's Witness. There are so many that are close-knit like this that need help, almost like women who flee abusive situations. Create a little nonprofit organization for that, so people, okay, well, there is this one phone number we could call and we can get some help to get on our feet. I don't know.
It's just good. It's really good if they can have that, but yeah. So.
Do you feel like you've been vaguely cultured?
I feel like I've been abused by a church I've never even been a part of, because it's so sad to hear like how they just treat their members whenever they actually want to be there, but they did something wrong.
I was vaguely curious, and now I feel vaguely cultured.
I love that.
I promise you listeners, not every episode will be this long or this intense, but this was something that I almost have a passion for because it's so interesting to me. If we ever go into Nexium, the quote-unquote sex cult, which it's not Is
that the one that has Allison Mack in it? The Smallville chick, which is still weird on that whole thing, how she was involved.
Ongoing, yes. So the second volume of The Vow on HBO just came out. I haven't watched it yet, but I watched the first one. It's not a sex cult, but there is some weird sex stuff involved. What's interesting about that ties into this is that founder used bits and pieces of Scientology in the practice and invention of Nexium. It's really interesting. So I'm sure we'll get into that one at some point. Thank you everyone for sticking around this long.
Yeah.
Again, not every episode will be this long, but religion and all kinds. This kind of topic is big, and you want to do it justice. And I hope you feel like you've watched the documentary with us.
Yeah, and to keep you guys up to date too, I mean, we are going to be on different platforms such as Spotify. I believe we're going to be getting onto iHeartRadio, Pandora. I don't know about YouTube, maybe YouTube, but as soon as we get all the things down on where we're going to be at, we'll definitely inform you. We do have an Instagram. Would you have the Instagram name?
Yeah, the handle. Is it called a handle?
I believe it's a handle.
I believe it's Vaguely Cultured Podcast.
All right.
It's loading. Hold on.
I just want to make sure we get you guys the right handles.
Vaguely Cultured Podcast on Instagram. Just one word. You'll see us on there. And again, this was Going Clear, the Prison of Belief. You can find it on HBO or HBO Max if you have regular HBO. I believe it's on demand. Hulu Premium. You can pay for it on YouTube, Amazon, and I believe Vudu. I'm not familiar with Vudu, so I don't know if it's free or you pay for it.
Now, Emily, do we have what our next movie, or I keep saying movie, but our next documentary is going to be if people want to participate?
So I'm torn between a Thanksgiving one. Mm-hmm. Well, not really Thanksgiving. It's a food one. in lieu of Thanksgiving, or just a completely different topic.
So I think what we could do, whenever we figure it out, we can put it on our Instagram what our next video will be, like what our next documentary is going to be. So if you guys want to watch it before our next episode, which we are planning on dropping our episodes every Monday. I'm hoping this Monday coming up, which will be the 7th. The 7th.
That's Tuesday.
Oh, it's Tuesday. Oh, so I believe the 6th then.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it the 6th?
Yeah, because I have an IEP meeting.
Oh, yeah. No. So Monday's actually the 7th. Tomorrow's the 6th. It is the 5th of November right now.
What? I have no idea what day it is.
Anyways, whatever Monday. So I'm hoping that this one will get down. If not, then our podcast will be airing for sure.
Eventually, I would like to do a poll and kind of see which one should we do next, or take suggestions from you guys.
That would be really cool, yeah.
But I have a couple ideas for November and the holiday season coming up.
Yeah.
So I will be posting what's it called? Not the album cover, the cover photo for the documentary on Instagram.
Ooh.
So you can see it. And I did find some Google art pertaining to our topic today as well that I'll post on there. So like and subscribe.
Woo!
Do you do that? Do you do that for Instagram, or is that a YouTube thing? I don't know.
You know what though? We like and subscribe us. I don't care. Like us, follow us, whatever. But I'm very happy that we are finally getting this going, and I really hope you guys like this. Sorry, I mean, like Alex says, we're gonna have some long ones, but not
this
long
was
ones
a
all the
more
time.
serious topic. There will definitely be others that, like, our next documentary is We Met in Virtual Reality.
Ooh.
So I have a feeling I have a feeling I'm gonna have some smart ass comments about this one.
It's all good.
It looks a little weird. I don't know about this, but I mean, I look forward to learning about virtual reality and the people who are currently using it. Because I don't. The most I've done on it was that cool lightsaber thing. Beat Saber. That's a workout, man. That's about as... And I've done... Well, I'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
But I have a little bit of virtual reality experience, and
Whoa.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, we will talk about that next week. So, but anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for listening to Vaguely Cultured. Hope to see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.